Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about how your hormones affect your PCOS. PCOS, of course, is really stemmed from an imbalance of your hormones. So we are going to name a few and talk about what they are, how they work, and how they play with other hormones in your body. So this video is already super long. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Hormones we will be talking about are estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, ghrelin, melatonin, your thyroid gland, and of course insulin, the problem child. So when it comes to estrogen and progesterone, you typically should have a balance between the two. But in PCOS, it is sometimes common to have estrogen dominance, which doesn't mean like overall, like you just have this crazy high level of estrogen. It more so means that you have more estrogen in relation to your progesterone. So either your estrogen is elevated and your progesterone, why do I have such difficulty with this word? Either your estrogen is elevated and your progesterone stayed the same or is low, or your estrogen is normal level and your progesterone is low. I think I said that right. What can happen if you have that imbalance is, typical symptoms like heavy periods and bloating and fatigue and really bad cramps and, stuff that a lot of us deal with anyway. So you might not necessarily know if it's PCOS related or not. This can also cause headaches and migraines, acne, fatigue, stuff like that. So now you're probably at the place where you're like, okay, that sounds like something that I could potentially have. How did I get to this place? I'm glad you asked. Estrogen dominance can be caused by stress. It can be genetic. It can be a result of poor digestive health. It can be caused by insulin resistance. That damn insulin. There's a lot of things that can lead to that. So our job is to fix it. If you're wondering how to control your estrogen levels, you want to de-stress and you want to eat healthy. And this is going to be a recurring theme. Like throughout all of this, everything that has to do with PCOS, lowering your stress and changing your diet come up a lot. So you might as well start now. So of course, you can have elevated levels of estrogen, but you can also have elevated levels of your androgens or male hormones, or more specifically, testosterone is what we typically think of. Even though there are multiple androgens, not just testosterone. There's like 6 or 7 or I don't know, I'm not a doctor. High testosterone is going to be what causes things like hormonal acne and male pattern hair growth and male pattern baldness. Wow, men just have such great traits. When it comes to diagnosis, if your doctor, there seems to be a bit of a conflict on whether or not excess androgen levels are necessary to qualify for having PCOS. You can have clinical signs like male pattern hair growth and really bad acne, or you might not even show the signs, but your blood tests show that your androgen levels are higher than they should be. Or maybe you might have the clinical signs, but your blood shows that your levels are normal. So now, do you have PCOS? I think I read 70 to 80% of women that deal with male pattern hair growth have PCOS. I don't know what the other 20 to 30% of women have if it's not PCOS. If your androgen levels are high, you might be wondering, well, why? How? Where did this come from? Well, remember that pesky little thing we talked about before that just ruins our life? Insulin resistance. Now, this might not be the primary cause, but it is one of the main causes of excess androgens. It's been proven that women with higher levels of androgens tend to have higher levels of insulin resistance. Now, which one causes which? I mean, they kind of play each other. Like, if your insulin resistance is high, your androgen levels could probably increase. If your androgen levels are high, it can cause insulin resistance. Isn't this fun? Everything to me right now is just saying that testosterone is annoying and insulin is annoying, and both of them just ruin lives. Like, of course it would be the male sex hormone causing problems up in here, and the blood sugar hormone causing problems. Sugar in men, just up in here causing problems. If your testosterone or estrogen levels are an issue, one of the main treatments that they will go to first will be birth control. It just makes the most sense in controlling your sex hormones. But obviously, if you are trying to conceive, that's not going to be an option for you. Ghrelin is this nasty little hormone that just makes us want to eat. It is called the hunger hormone for a reason. Now, obviously, as people, we need to eat, but one of the symptoms of PCOS is weight gain. Not all women have this, but many women do. And the first thing that your doctor is going to tell you, because they're insensitive, is to lose weight. It's like, okay, yeah, like losing weight could help me, but how am I supposed to lose weight when this whole illness or disease or whatever you want to call it is the reason that I gained weight in the first place? Like, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. If your doctor tells you to lose weight, obviously you're going to have to diet and exercise, because that's how you do that. But ghrelin is the hormone that's going to make you eat, and as soon as you start to diet, your ghrelin is going to increase. You're going to get hungrier, because why on earth would it cooperate with you? So, I mean, its whole function is to increase your appetite and literally store fat. Why do we have this again? So your ghrelin levels aren't directly related to PCOS. They're not a cause of PCOS or anything like that. It's just, if you wanted to know the little gremlin in your body that's making you eat when you're trying to lose weight, it's ghrelin. It's important that even if you are dieting, that you are eating smaller portions regularly, because the hungrier you allow yourself to get, the more you're going to consume, because then you're just not going to be satisfied. When you get hungry, your ghrelin levels, they get really high, and they tell you to eat. And once that hormone is high, you can eat, but you still feel it. You still feel that hunger, and then you'll get to the point where you're not satisfied, and then you overeat. Whereas if you just eat smaller quantities, smaller portions throughout the day, you're less likely to get that really hard craving for food, because you've already had some food. Okay, let's talk about melatonin. So obviously melatonin is your body clock. It is not just your sleep hormone or the little gummy that you give to your kid at night. Melatonin can also affect your other hormones. Our hormones kind of play with and sometimes against each other. So your melatonin levels can not only affect your sleep, but it can affect your mood during the day. If you maybe didn't get enough sleep, it can affect your digestive health, your reproductive health. In general, though, melatonin is not a hormone that you commonly hear associated with PCOS. You normally hear estrogen, testosterone, and insulin especially. But because your hormones all play together, your melatonin can really affect some of your other hormones. If your hormones are not in balance, that's really what causes PCOS in the first place. and melatonin is not excluded from that list of hormones. So one of the things that can happen is your melatonin can either be low, which means you're not getting enough sleep, or it can be high, which means you're constantly tired. You are constantly tired, sleeping, but you still feel sleepy. And that can be a result of stress. If you are stressed out, your body's gonna produce more melatonin to relax you. Because melatonin isn't just what puts you to sleep, it's what makes you relaxed and comfortable to go to sleep in the first place. So if you're stressed out and your anxiety's up and all that other stuff, that can cause your melatonin to rise to try to calm you down, which will make you sleepy. So if you want to regulate your melatonin naturally, you're going to want to eat lots of fruits and veggies. Try to put yourself on some sort of sleep schedule, get regulated, maybe do some meditation or yoga, something to relax you, to start getting you on a better sleep schedule so that your body can regulate itself a little bit. Make sure you're also exercising so that during your awake time, you are actually utilizing your body and being fully awake and present during that time, so that when it is time for your body to relax, your body knows the difference between being awake and being sleepy. Also, exercising regularly is just going to help balance out your other hormones as well, so that all your hormones can play nice together. If you are going to consume some sort of caffeine like coffee, make sure it is at the earliest part of the day and not like after lunch or dinner time, because by that time you're just confusing your body. You're waking your body up in the middle of the day and then it doesn't know when to go to sleep. So let's talk briefly about the thyroid. Your thyroid is a gland that produces hormones, but it can be overactive or underactive, and it tends to be underactive in women with PCOS. However, when it comes to hypothyroidism, which is an underactive thyroid, there's a lot of overlap in the symptoms between hypothyroidism and PCOS, and it's not fully understood yet. It makes it difficult to diagnose. It's a little bit more than I can explain, but essentially the hormones that your thyroid produce, they're there to like control and regulate your metabolism. It can really impact the way your body uses and produces energy and heat. I don't know. I don't fully understand it. I'm going to link an article down below for the relationship between your thyroid and PCOS, because I'm not a doctor, and if I explain this wrong, I don't want to give out false information. So just check the description box. So I saved the best for last, and that is insulin. If you haven't already noticed in this video, insulin causes issues, okay? It causes your other hormones not to act right. When it comes to insulin, if you don't know, is the hormone that regulates your blood sugar or blood glucose levels. It's created in the pancreas and then it goes into the bloodstream. So when the insulin goes into your bloodstream, then the cells are supposed to absorb it. But sometimes there's insulin in your bloodstream and it's not being absorbed, and that is insulin resistance. With type 1 diabetes, your pancreas is actually just failing to produce insulin altogether, and that is genetic. Type 1 diabetes is normally diagnosed very early. It doesn't evolve over time. It's normally discovered in childhood or early teen years because it is more of a system malfunction. So with type 2 diabetes, either your body isn't using the insulin properly or it isn't producing enough insulin in general. While type 2 diabetes develops more so over a lengthy period of time, it can happen rather quickly, especially in people who are overweight. However, not everyone with type 2 diabetes is overweight the same way not everyone with PCOS is overweight. And I've said in at least 2 videos already that PCOS can very much so be a precursor to diabetes. Your insulin resistance, you want to catch it early, you want to grab it by the reins and try to decrease resistance and increase sensitivity so that you do not lead yourself into diabetes. As far as type 2 diabetes is concerned, it's not exactly known why insulin just stops being produced at the correct level for how you're eating. What happens is it's not being absorbed properly for whatever reason, and so your pancreas starts producing more insulin in an effort to combat that. But because it's not being absorbed, it eventually shuts down. So the pancreas just burns out and it starts chilling. And so now it's not producing enough insulin at all. And I know the bodies are supposed to be self-healing, but sometimes they don't be on the right track. As far as PCOS is concerned, if your insulin resistance is high, that can increase your androgen levels. It can lead to all your hormones pretty much being out of whack at that point, which will only increase your symptoms or make your symptoms worse. It can lead to type 2 diabetes. Nobody wants to battle two things, okay? So I suggest taking preventative measures. If you feel like your insulin is not being absorbed properly or your insulin resistance is high, change the way you eat. I keep saying it, but that's because that's what's recommended. You need your hormones to play nice with one another, and insulin is a very important hormone when it comes to all the other hormones. Really, you just want to steer clear of foods with a high glycemic index. I will link in the description an article about what glycemic index is and how it relates to food that you're eating and your blood sugar and stuff like that. Essentially, foods with a higher glycemic index are going to spike your blood sugar fairly quickly. You want to stick to foods that are going to be slower to raise your blood sugar so that the insulin that's in your bloodstream can manage your blood sugar better. Balance out your meals, meal prep if you need to. Meal prepping really helps me to stay on track and to not go eating when that ghrelin kicks in. There's something good already prepared for you to eat instead of just grabbing the closest thing to you. Alrighty, my loves. I know this video is super long. If you have made it to the end, thank you for sticking it out with me. It has taken me forever to film this video. But if you learned anything from this video, is that your hormones need to be in harmony with one another. And you can control that with how you eat, how you treat yourself, getting enough sleep, not stressing yourself out. Be kind to yourself. That's all that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Follow me on my other social media. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for my uploads. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.